Almost 10 years ago, some close friends and I embarked on the most bizarre adventure of our lives. Our goal? To pioneer the unridden waves of Russia. For a month, we explored remote Siberian islands where we discovered amazing waves and experienced a part of the world that had only recently been open to foreigners. This trip ignited a new path in my life, and shortly afterward would help open a door into a career in surfing and television. With a desire to rekindle that stoke and sense of adventure, I decided to return to retrace my steps and take some new ones. Joining this peak behind the Iron Curtain were good friends Matt Beecham and Australian Mark Lasowski, who had also made the first trip to Russia with me. A mere 7 time zones away from Russia's capital, Moscow, Sakhalin Island is located off the country's east coast, resting in the Okhotsk Sea. This was our base until we could get the permits for our final destination, the rarely visited Iturup Island, which is more exposed to ocean swells. We were in luck, as on our first day in Russia, there was a storm kicking up strong winds that would provide some waves on the coast.
I think this is the call. You know, it's not the best wave I've ever seen in Russia, but it'd be nice to get in the water in the morning here.
It might get crowded pretty soon, so I think we should get on it.
There's one thing I never thought I'd do, is wax up a new board in Russia. I just didn't see it coming.
We're going salmon fishing. Gotta get something to eat tonight. You know, there's some good waves, but while the salmon's here, we're on it. Right there. Wow, no way! Now that's how you go salmon fishing in Russia.
Hey, there's already more water. Oh, there's one! Oh! There's one more! Ah!
We finally decided to paddle out, when all of a sudden...
Oh, are you kidding?
Out of nowhere, someone behind us had fired a gun in the air and was yelling at us in words we couldn't understand. Turns out he was a security guard who was protecting the salmon from poachers. Once he realized that wasn't our plan, he let us go surfing and gave us a fish for our trouble.
So to get waves in the Okhotsk Sea, what you have to do is you have to get a storm front. So you have Siberia, you have China, they create storms, you have typhoons swinging up off of Japan. So you have 3 different areas you can really get a good storm that can generate surf. And then what you do is you hide and let the storm push through and generate all the waves. You really have to be on top of it. Sometimes waves last an hour, but never more than 2 days.
All right. Here's a salmon that we caught today. We're going to make a salmon gravlax. Okay, here we go. There's 1 fillet. 2 cups of salt, 1 cup of sugar. This is for the curing process. Okay, we'll finish this off tomorrow, and good night, salmon. And we're going to rinse all the curing solution off. So what the salt and the sugar did is sucked all the moisture out of the salmon. Pat this nice and dry. Alright, so now I'm taking some tweezers, taking out the bones. Final step in the process, I'm going to put some fresh dill on top. This is something I learned at a French restaurant in Canada. Put the capers on top.
Capers and
then...
what's this? Sour cream?
That's good.
I don't like salmon, and I like this. This is really good.
Mark just made a work of art in a hotel room.
With a hand-caught salmon.
It was amazing to be back in Russia, and Mark and I wondered why it took so long for us to make our way back. As expected, the swell backed down the next day, so we spent some time exploring the island and waiting for the permits to clear for our next destination. Sakhalin is an intriguing and beautiful island to travel through. Initially, this island was reserved for the worst of Russian convicts to serve out their sentences. Then, after a short stint under Japanese control during World War II, Sakhalin has now found itself in the middle of a big oil boom, bringing in lots of money and development to the island. But not everyone is benefiting from this newfound black gold, and the shadows of Russia's communist days still loom.
So Mark's made us a couple tomato cheese and salami sandwiches here for breakfast. Kind of cold this morning. Get some coffee cooking under the fire and let's get out of here.
Hello, people. We had some sand trouble with our vehicle, so Igor here offered to give us a little ride to the beach in his pretty gnarly truck. It's pretty epic. Okay, right there. All right.
We had now been on Sakhalin for a week and hadn't scored quality waves. Our only hope was to get to the more swell-exposed island of Iturup, but it looked like we weren't going to be granted our special permits to get there. So we had to take matters into our own hands. permit to Iturup Island.
I was pretty nervous landing on Iturup, as the last time we had visited 9 years ago, we were arrested and deported for snooping around and photographing their coast. We were there for only 4 days, but during that time we discovered some great waves and we were dying to get back to surf them again.
So Iturup Island is really a military outpost. During World War II, it was a really big playing field against the Japanese and the Russians. And during the Cold War era, this was really a frontline area that the U.S. would have invaded. So still today, Iturup is really big on a military presence. Tanks, soldiers, choppers. It's a pretty busy place. In fact, it's amazing we even got on this island.
The waves weren't all that great, but at this point we were happy to just be back in the water. After our surf, we made our way to a spot we had scored on our last trip.
So this is a spot marked named Lenin's Head. It was a really nice right point break that broke in around this rock area here. And last time we were here, no boat in the background. That thing's less than 9 years old. I feel bad for the captain though.
Iturup was as unique a place as when we had left it 9 years before, and we were all looking forward to discovering some new waves on the island. Iturup is one of the most special places in the world to me. It's a stunning island covered in dramatic peaks and volcanoes, quaint little villages, and bathed in a crystal clear water, which sometimes turns into awesome waves. It's one of the most difficult places in the world to get to, but that's part of its intrigue.
So our driver Victor's pretty interested in surfing, so he shows up today with his own wetsuit and asked if he can borrow one of our boards. Maybe the first Russian surfer on Russian soil here. Those are bear tracks. From now on, when I'm checking the surf, I'm gonna be looking over my shoulder at the same time. It is just a gorgeous day today. I mean, the water is crystal clear. We're seeing schools of salmon right along the little waves here.
just seeing the volcano and just the warm sun and a t-shirt. Even though the waves are pretty small right now, we've been learning around here. It can be flat in the morning and head high in the evening. So I think we just have to be patient and hope the waves come in a little bit later.
Checking from the one internet connection we could find, it looked like there would be some fun waves on the other side of the island. But the only accessible part of the coast was on a military base.
Right now we're trying to see if we can get in here. We've been waiting for about 20 minutes, and I think they're thinking it over. So I don't think there's anything too militarily sensitive around here or anything, but we may get denied. We'll see.
Oh, we got the nod.
We're in.
Right now we're driving on a historical airstrip. It also happens to be the one we landed on the other day. This is where some of the Japanese Zero fighters that bombed and crashed into Pearl Harbor, they took off from this airstrip right here, back when the Japanese occupied this island. The Russian military is taking it over, and they gave us access to drive around and look for surf.
We got a wind chill factor of 160 below out here, and we're just stuck in a puddle, and Victor managed to get it 5 feet up. At least the exhaust is now out of the water.
We named this wave Zeros because it broke right at the end of the old Japanese airstrip. Unfortunately, these would be the last waves we would see on the island as the ocean went flat for the last few days of our trip.
So the flight that was supposed to take us off the island today didn't make it because of the fog. We're kind of stuck here. And you know, just the last couple of days too, I've just been really thinking about just seeing my kids and seeing Shannon, and it's a bummer to be on Surfari right now. This trip's been difficult for us in a lot of ways, getting permits, getting to the island, getting off the island. Now we're on this 3-day ferry, it turns out, on the way home, and you know, that's not part of my plan. We had a great trip. We didn't have the best surf.
the people of Russia, and this beautiful environment we've been in is more than made up for it. I could see myself coming back here in a couple of years for sure and giving it another shot. We hope you had fun with us, and we'll see you next time on Surfari.